Hey guys, it's Maymay and these little bunnies, which are super cute. These bunnies were sent to me by my friend Gareth, and he carries these wood pieces in his store. Not just bunnies, he has other ones too, and I couldn't wait to play with them. I'm going to show you some stuff I'm going to be using. First, I'm going to use hazelnut chalk ink and some wax. This is that Waverly brand that I get at Walmart, and I thought we would play with this. So the very first thing I need to do is get these guys painted. Now, you could do a lot of different things. You would not have to paint them at all. You could cover them in, say, some velvet material if you wanted a velvet rabbit. And to be honest, I thought I had a chocolate color chalk paint. I was actually at Walmart today and I was like, oh, I don't need that paint. I've got some at home. Well, truth of the matter is, the color I have is this color, which is barely caramel. But I think the wax is going to help me get more of the chocolate look I'm looking for. If it doesn't, live and learn. But I'm going to attempt to do that with that wax and everything. But the first thing I want to do is get a good coat of the chalk paint on these guys. Actually, it might not be bad using this color because I'm not having to struggle to get it to cover. It's covering really well. So there's the front side. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do these edges. I might need to let each side dry in between before I try to do that. But let's just see. Yeah, not too bad. I'll do as much as I can, and then we'll come back together when everything is painted a solid color. So now these guys are pretty dry, and look how cute they look, like little caramel bunnies. So they're super cute, but I want them to be a little darker. I'm going to lay him down here like this, and what we do to one, we're going to do to all of them. So I'm only going to do it to one, and then I'll do the others off of the video. This is the wax. Let me show you what it looks like. It is antique. It's the antique color of wax from the Waverly brand. And when I read it, it tells me that I need to apply the thin layer of wax to protect the Waverly Inspiration paints. It tells me to use the brush that you can purchase from them or a lint-free cloth. Immediately remove any excess wax, leaving the antique color on the surface. Then it tells me to wait 24 hours and buff it. I'm probably not going to do that, but for best results, I want to make sure I say that. Now, the other thing, I don't have a lint-free cloth and I don't have that brush, but I do have this makeup sponge, which is pretty much lint-free in my opinion. So I'm going to use it. Now, remember, I wanted my bunnies to be pretty chocolate anyway, so I'm going to be heavy with this product. Don't stress about it, okay? I want them to be darker than they were, so I'm going to apply this wax very heavily. The idea behind this wax is to seal the surface and to also give it an antiqued or weathered look, which I think is beautiful. And I've seen some people use this product and just do such an amazing job with it, making everything look so antiqued and beautiful. So I'm just going to see what happens. This is really the first time I've used this product all over anything. I've used it to age some edges of a picture frame and things like that, but I've never really used it on the whole project. I really like how that's looking kind of worn and distressed. Isn't that cute? And for the embellishment I'm going to put on it, it actually works really well to have this look. I'm going to see if I can keep some of those streaks in. I like the way that looks. So without working them out too much, try to leave all those in there. And just kind of let it look really, really old and aged. So there's the front side of the bunny. Probably looks rough on camera, but in person he kind of looks furry. He looks absolutely gorgeous in person. Let's do the back side too while we're at it. This seems to work really well with this makeup sponge, as a matter of fact. It's easy to work with. It doesn't soak up too much of the product, which I was kind of afraid of. It's kind of just working really well. So I'm just going to keep rubbing this on all the bunnies until they're fully coated in the wax. So while I was at Walmart, I picked up 3 ribbons. I think this one's really pretty. It's kind of a sheer with a gold running through it. I also picked up a solid gold ribbon, shimmery, and this one that has little polka dots. And another little thing, check this out. I bought a mini Bodabra. I'm not really sure why, but I've convinced myself this might be something we all need in our stash, so we're going to figure it out today and see if we do or not. So the Bodabra comes with this, what they call the mini Bodabra wand, and this piece here, and you get instructions, and you also get this VIP membership to bodabra.com. I'm not really sure what that gets you, but it comes with it. And I just picked this up today because I wanted to see if this would help me make bows small enough for these bunnies. So here's the first thing you do. This little slot that goes across here is where you want to put your ribbon or your wire for closing off the bow. And I purchased this. This is bow wire from Bodabra, and I thought this might be interesting to have and see how it works. Now, from what I've seen on videos, because I did go look, this wire is used a lot in hair bow making with the Bodabra. So I don't know if you have to have it for this, but I'm going to use it today just to see. I also like that it is, it's kind of a fabric wire, so it's not like a traditional wire. So it's kind of malleable. See that? I like that. All right, so you need a piece big enough. Let me cut a piece off here. They use much bigger pieces in their videos than I think you actually need, but we're going to see. They use about 12 inches, and then they fold it in half, which I've got way too much here, I think. But they fold it in half, and they make a loop on one end, like so, and then the open end on the other, and they lay this inside. Then they tuck those pieces under as they work. So see, I've done my research. So that's how they get started, okay? To make the bow itself, you then cut a piece to be the tails of the bow. So I'm going to cut, these are the wrong scissors for this job, but we'll start with this. I'm going to cut a piece about like that, and then that piece goes right inside the Bodabra. So that's going to be the tails that stick out the side of the bow. Now then, you just basically loop it. But because my ribbon is single-sided, so it's got a design on this side and not on the other, I have to do a little twisting. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in upside down. And they say to give it about an inch over here so that it can get closed into the knot really well. So I'm going to leave about an inch of that hanging out. Now I can make this loop, but I need to twist this so that my second loop will come up with the correct color or the correct side of the ribbon. So you just push that down in there. Now the loop here is going to determine how big your bow is. And this bow seems a little big for my bunnies, so I'm going to shrink it down a bit. Just going to pull it through and shrink it. So I'm happier with that. All right, so I think I'm going to take it out and retwist it. I've not made a bow I'm happy with. Let me show you. I played with this and did this, and I don't love it. So we're going to see how this one turns out. This is the second attempt at using this. All right, so I've twisted it. And now I'm going to turn this so I can see the size I'm working with here. So now I'm going to take the ribbon back across and kind of match up the length of my bow and twist again so that when I come back across, I'll have the right fabric or the right side of the ribbon sticking in the right position. So now I can keep going. I think I'll do 3 loops on either side. So twist and stick in there, and then come back across, twist. I'm going to twist this way, I suppose. It's easier to twist toward me. Just making sure my loops are about the same. And I'm not taking this off of my ribbon spool either. I think this is a good way to save ribbon because I can see exactly what I'm making. Look at that. Those are perfectly lined up. This side over here needs a little assistance. Now again, here, you're going to twist and put this in. This is my last loop that I'm making, okay? So it says to trim this off about an inch away, but an inch is too much, so I'm going to trim it about ½ an inch. All right, so we've got our bow loops in here. We have this wand, which what they suggest is that you use this to press this down into the middle, like so, to get it nice and snug. Then pull these pieces out. Now, I do like this idea. Check this out. You take your looped end and your loose ends, and you basically make a slip knot. Hold your loops in place and pull. Now that slip knots the bow. Now you take these ends and separate them and pull tight. And see how much it kind of cinched the bow up even more? Now this guy is ready to come out. So we'll just pull him up out of here. Now this is the basic bow that we're going to get. There's still some work to do to it. At this point it doesn't look great. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to pull these wires to the back, and I'm going to tie them in the back. All of this is what I learned from watching videos on YouTube for the Bodabra. So there's lots of videos out there you can catch. All right, so I've got a little knot in the back. I'm going to make one more on top of that just to hold it nice and secure. Just like that. Now, I'm going to leave these wires because I may use these to attach them to my bunny if I can hide them pretty good. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and kind of fluff this bow around and clean those tails up. You can also, you may find that some of your loops are not perfect once you take them out, and you can always adjust the length and things just like you always do. That's a pretty good bow, I think. Let me show you what I got for the centers. All of this was from Walmart, and I'm wanting my bunnies to look a little vintage. And I thought this bow would be, this button would be so pretty in the middle of this bow and then on that bunny. So I picked these guys up. I don't know how much they were, I don't remember, but I think they were just a couple bucks. They weren't very expensive. Now, if you need buttons and things like that, Gareth carries a bunch in his store, so he has all kinds to choose from. So I've just had a thought. I think I'm going to use this thread to hold this on so I don't have to use hot glue at all. Wouldn't that be nice not to have to plug up the hot glue gun? So I'm just going to thread one end of this wire through, like so. Then I'm going to thread the other side through and tie it again in the back. That makes sense to me. Anything to not have to use hot glue, right? Okay, so look at that. That works really well. That would be neat for if you're making hair bows and stuff too, to be able to get your centerpiece on. So there's the middle, and let's tie some more knots in the back. This is going to look really pretty around our bunny neck. Look at that. Ignore the silver wire because that'll go away when we put it on. But now I'm going to turn these tails down instead of have them sticking out, and have them kind of go down like this. And then I'm going to trim these. So there's the first bow I did. I like this bow. I think this worked out really well, and that'll go on our bunny when he's ready. So now I'm going to make more bows using the different ribbons, doing the same thing I just did, and these smaller buttons for the other two tiny bunnies. So I'm back with my bunny. Full disclosure, I did not wait 24 hours. I waited about 2 hours max. And what I decided was, if I touched it and it didn't come off on my finger, it was dry enough for me to do the next step. Now, I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it, but this is how I'm doing it. This is all in that vein of use what you got. I've got a paper towel, and I'm just kind of scrubbing. And I think there are probably some other tools you can use or whatever to kind of get some of the color off of the edges and make it look distressed. This just kind of picks up some of the wax that's just kind of sitting on the surface and gives it a little more distressed or rugged look. Not a whole lot, which is good because I wanted them to be pretty chocolate. So I'm just going to buff, and watch this one. I haven't buffed this one at all. Let me zoom you in. This is a really close zoom. I have not buffed this one at all. Let me find a clean spot on my paper towel to show you what comes off. So there's a clean spot, and like I said, maybe a couple of hours these sat. I just let them sit until they did not, no wax came off on my finger when I touched it. And you'll be able to tell that too when you're doing it, because it is wet when you first put it on. So see, not too much comes off, but we are able to buff it. And I'm going to buff the edges just slightly. Not a lot on the edges because this MDF is a little bit rougher on the edges, and paper towel is not the right tool for that job. So just a little bit on the edges. So this guy is, oh, he feels amazing. He's dry and done. Let's do the other ones. I just love how these little guys have turned out. They are beautiful. And see how he did when I rubbed the wax, it kind of left that behind. I love it. Okay, so now what you do is you decide what is the front and what is the back. I want this rugged part to be the front of this guy. His bow may cover it up anyway, but I still want that to be the front. So I'm going to turn this guy the opposite way so that when they sit, they're facing in opposite directions. So here's that bow I made first, and I'm going to tie it around this little guy's neck. And I'm using that wire that was left over from when we made the bow. Let me get that on there like I want it. And just tie this around. I'm going to trim off this excess back here. This is the back of the bunny. That's not going to show, so I'm not going to stress about that. And because that's a wire, I can kind of manipulate the bow on his little neck. Look at that. So facing in the opposite direction, this little guy, I only made him a 1-loop bow. See that? By the time I made 2, it kind of made the button go away. So I thought, let's just do him a 1-looper. So I'm going to tie this on as well. So this becomes our little bunny family. How cute are they? And I love the rustic vintage look of them. Now I'm going to show you in pictures how they look sitting up and all together in a grouping. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're looking for these little bunnies, you can find them at Gareth's store. And like I said, I know he has embellishments and things that can go in the middle. I just didn't have any here today that I could use that matched my ribbon. But I love how these turned out. I cannot wait to display them for Easter. I hope you guys enjoy them too. Let me know in the comments below what what you use chalk and wax paint for. I'd be real interested to know what you use and how you use it. Now, if you create a project like this, please share it with us over on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. And while you're at it, if you have an iPhone, an Apple device, check out my new app in the Apple Store. Just search Maymay in your search engine and it'll pop up and you can get it for free. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.